So, I've been trying to do a debate with Colossal and possibly Keem about this for the longest time. And it's talking about Patreon. And how crazy it drives me when people say, like, oh, I can't believe these people are asking for donations. I can't believe these people would have the audacity to ask people for money. They're making millions or they're making money. Why do I need to ask people for money? I mean, it just feels like that. And it drives me fucking insane. So, let's talk about it for a second. Let's just discuss this because it pisses me off. So, the point of a Patreon is similar to Kickstarter. It's fan funding. Now, there's been a great tweet out by this guy. I never watched him. It's Chad Clay Wild. It's actually funny. I had an interaction with this gentleman. But anyway, he tweets out this photo saying that Chad Clay Wild has entertained 2.36 million people, and on average, that video, or the total amount of money that video made that entertained 2.3 million viewers. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're individual people or unique viewers, it just matters that it was viewed that many times. And that was only making $860-something. Meanwhile, this utterly trash show, which I've never heard a good thing about, I think it was like New Girl or Good Girls or something like that. You can go to his Twitter profile and you can find the fucking photo. And they were making over $100,000 per ad insertion on their TV show. So there is a huge disparity among television and internet personalities. And I want to talk about why the Patreon is one of the greatest ways to leverage that field to an extent. Is because people aren't stupid. I mean, with their money. Like, people generally as a whole, generally will have a lower IQ than just individual persons. I'm sorry that might sound a little condescending, but that's kind of the truth, is that people, if you're in a mass group, tend to do things that normally they wouldn't do by themselves. But that's the great thing about this with Patreon, is that people are by themselves. And it's their money involved in what they're purchasing, aka Patreon subscriptions. So, let's talk about this for a second. Why is Patreon a good thing and why is it a bad thing? I'm going to talk about the bads first. Some of the reasons that these things are really bad. And that's number one, which is the very obvious one, is exploitation. A lot of people will do this, and I don't agree with this to an extent. I'll explain in a minute. But anyway, and that is that they'll say, oh, you can only get these certain videos or this type of content if you subscribe to my Patreon. We only really do Patreon-only content. We don't open it up to the public. And I gotta say, that is the single most exploitative thing I think there is. It just drives me crazy when that happens because, like, at least for video content, something that can be consumed, like a podcast or audio, for, like, people who do photography or visual novels, that's a different story. But anyway, it just drives me crazy when people will exploit and say, oh, I'll follow you on Twitter, or I'll give you a private Skype message, or I'll DM you on Discord. These are really kind of shady tactics because these are just ways that people are kind of milking every dollar, in my opinion. But even still, I don't necessarily consider that exploitation. It's more of using the money to leverage things that you should be kind of doing already, which is releasing video content. So that's the only real negative I can think about this. But there's this constant argument going out by people who, I'm sorry, but Keem and Colossal, and on the call, you guys are wrong. You are 100% wrong. And actually, PewDiePie said this, and I made a video talking about this, where it's like, basically by saying, oh, because these YouTubers are opening up a Patreon, they're being scumbags. I'm a multimillionaire. But here's the thing. You're not considering this from the donor's perspective, the people who are giving their money. These people aren't dumb. They say with their wallets. They're voting with their wallets. Think about that. That is the biggest thing that every boycott is always trying to be. It's a boycott that says, hey, we're going to boycott this product by not giving them our money anymore. That is it's the exact opposite with Patreon. We like Philip DeFranco to the point where we are willing to give our own income to these people. People who use ad block, you will generally give people money if they like their content or their personality or something along that line. So by saying that it's rude or, having a Patreon up, I think in essence you're calling patrons dumbasses. It really feels like that. And I'm sorry, but I would never call somebody who said, yes, I've been entertained so much by Philip DeFranco that I feel I want to give him some of my money. Now here's the trade-off. I kind of agree to an extent with Keem what they're saying because it's like, yeah, Philip DeFranco has made millions of dollars through his show. However, the reason that I slightly agree is because he does t-shirts, he does merchandising. And if you really feel that you want to make a lot of money or you want to try to build up like, your own news network, it should be due through merch sales, not necessarily direct donations like that. That is my only critique to Philip DeFranco's thing, is that he's got a business where he builds up merchandise. He's got, advertisers. He has a lot of the tactics that I usually tell people to try to employ in place already, minus a few things. And it's like, it seems kind of weird that he's going to do fan funding and basically say, well, the fan funding rewards are just kind of meh. Like, I don't really like the tiers on his, fan funding, but they're meh. But people will pay that. It's, kind of the rule of supply and demand. Fucking buses, man. Every episode there's going to be some in the background. But anyway, so, that's the only thing I got to disagree with. Agree with, but then I disagree with on Philip DeFranco's. Like, I think those tier rewards are just ridiculous. But here's the problem, is that I think they're ridiculous, but as we can tell, he's got a lot of fucking donors. He's got a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'll pay for that tier. And I think it's absolutely insulting to call the people out on this, because it's like, okay, Grade A Under A might have a Patreon. His content might literally be MS Paint drawings and just drawing things on a friggin' picture and talking about topics that are pretty commonplace. But here's the thing, is that people like that. They want to support that type of creator. Right now, I'm broke as shit, but I still have a couple of people that I'm like, yeah, if I knew that they had like a subscribe button or if they had a Patreon, I totally would do it. But they don't generally do it, the ones that I like. But the people who are like, I like their content, so I watch them. Well, how I support them now is I got a YouTube Red subscription so that I can give them some sort of income passively through YouTube Red. I mean, I'm going to try to stick to subscribing that, but it's pretty fucking pricey, in all honesty. Anyway, so that's what drives me absolutely crazy. All of you guys who are critiquing Patreon are wrong because of two reasons. Here's the good reasons. Here's the great reasons of why Patreon is a great thing, other than people wanting to support their creators. That's just kind of a given. But the two reasons that Patreon are amazing is, number one, it gives ease of mind. All of you guys who are hardworking creators, or you've ever watched somebody do like behind the scenes and how they record a video and edit it and upload it and all the work and research that they do into something, you guys need to understand something that don't know this. People who do these YouTube videos as a job, they take days and hours of their life every single day. I talk to Uber Danger, and Uber Danger says this every day. It's like, he gets on the computer every day, records something, edits it, makes it perfect, and then releases it for once a week, just to try to get something that's amazing. And it's like, if Uber Danger had a Patreon that it was good, that he supported, we'll talk about that in another day. But, if he had something like that, where Philip DeFranco, where it's like, he got a whole shitload of money, he can use that to hire people, to give him that ease of mind so that instead of making one video a week, he can make 3 videos a week, because he comes into work being like, yeah, all I gotta do is sit here and be in front of the camera and be funny. That's all I have to do. I don't have to edit. I don't have to worry about uploading. I don't have to worry about the post-production shit. I just come here, I be funny, and maybe I help direct my editors in the right direction, and I can steer my business upward. That's what drives me crazy, is Colossal is crazy. He makes one video every 3 months now. He does good work, but it's like, you're just burdening yourself by doing all of that work yourself. And that's what Patreon helps to alleviate. It really does, and it's amazing. And then the second reason that Patreon is an amazing thing for creators, it varies on person to person. But anyway, the second best reason why is because it kind of, in my opinion, should feel like a reward. It's like, every time you donate to somebody on a live stream, it's like, oh, here's $5 to basically just kind of been like, oh, you've been dancing for my entertainment. Ah ha ha. And then a little donation window pops up. It says a message. And then in that instant, the donation pops up, it goes away, and it's like a 15-second thank you, and then it's gone. It's over. Now, granted, you can argue the same thing with Patreon, but that's the great thing about it, is that when people do proper tiering and they properly, reward their audience, it feels like you're getting something. Like, if I knew that for Philip DeFranco's thing, I could donate $40 a month. $40, and I got like some sort of new t-shirt every month, which would probably cost about like $20. So it's really like you're giving 20. But anyway, if I could do that, and it's like every month I got a new t-shirt or something like that, I would be getting something out of it. And then like a private Discord link and all this shit. It's like you get more of a reward out of certain patrons. Like some people have scummy Patreons, some people have good Patreons. But it's like the people who properly work these things and they properly, try to connect with their audience and give the sense of like, hey, you are supporting me here and I'm going to try to give back to you because you're supporting me. Like, that's ultimately way more rewarding because it's like, well, shit, I hate when I donate to people and they don't even read the fucking message I send. I'm like, well, I wrote this message so that you could read it. Or I've subscribed to people, it's like, oh yeah, thanks for subscribing. What? That was it? I mean, there's nothing else with that? There's no, like, conversation? Fuck, man, I get a viewer in my live stream. Granted, I'm smaller, but when I was getting decent live streams, whenever I got a new viewer, I was like, holy shit, hey, welcome to my stream. Thanks for coming. And, hit that subscribe button, when I was streaming on YouTube, that is. Yeah, we're playing some Modern Warfare 3. I go through a whole rundown to connect to every viewer and just kind of give that semblance of being personal with somebody. And it drives me up a wall that somebody looks at a donation and goes, thanks. And I'm like, well, fuck, that was a lot of money to me. I had to work for almost an hour to give you $10. That's a lot. That's an hour of my life gone because, for like a 15-second, well, thanks. But I can give on somebody $10 on Patreon and be like, oh, I can get into a private freaking live stream hangout once every month. I got a Discord link where I get a little badge of honor or like a private Discord server. These are nicer rewards that help me feel more connected to the people that I want to support. And to call people who are supporting this, idiots in they're not directly saying that. All these people aren't saying that directly, but that's really the implication. Because if people didn't want a Patreon, guess what? They would say no. And I can give you a great example of this right now, which is Kavos. Kavos made a Patreon. He had a video up being like, yo, if you want to donate, and people quickly said, nah, we don't like this. Get that shit off of here. And he went, all right, I'll get this shit off of here. So people vote with their wallets. They either want it or they don't. DeFranco has entertained millions of people, and out of those millions of people, I think it was like 50,000. I don't know exactly. You got to bear with me here, but almost 50,000 people, or however many patrons he has, said, yeah, we want this to be a thing. It's crowdfunding, but to an extent that, hey, this money we can see actively going into something. I guarantee you if Philip DeFranco just said, yeah, we're going to take this money and then fuck off with it, people would quickly pull their donations. The same kind of thing happened with Uber Danger, is that Uber Danger made all these huge promises and all these donations just kind of sat there and no real promises happened. And it felt like people were really getting, fucked over. And I got invited to his private Discord server, but I never actually had a chance to talk with him, and then he made it public, and I feel a little bummed about that. It's not the end of the world. Uber's a good guy, funny as hell, by the way. But it's like, if people don't want this, they won't spend their money. I think Uber's Patreon started off making $4,500 a month. I think it's all the way down to the $1,200 now. So to say that, YouTubers are exploiting their viewers, or, oh, they've already made millions of dollars, so why would you give them your money? They want it. The customer is demanding a product. Actually, let me change that. That's actually not true. The creator created a product, and the consumer said, yeah, we would like to purchase that product, in so many words. As opposed to a live stream, which is, oh yeah, this is like me throwing money at a stripper. That's what it feels like half the time when I'm donating to somebody. It really does. I feel like, hey, thanks for being good. Yeah. You've been entertaining me really well. I like what you're doing up there. I can see you nicely. So here's a couple dollars for entertaining me. I mean, come on. That just feels like you're talking to a stripper. Now, everybody's got different personalities on Twitch, but I'm just saying that based off of the people that I watch. It just feels like that. And if Patreon creates a better interaction between me and the person who's, that I love and I'm enjoying to the point where I want to support them, why is that my fault? Why is that the creator's fault? I wanted that product. If they threw it out there and I didn't want that, I wouldn't support that. And, we're running in full circles here now, but that's my point. And I'm going to try my goddamnedest to get fucking Colossal to debate me on this. He's been MIA as like a motherfucker lately, but I'm like, I had a conversation with him one time, and we were talking about Catch 33. I won't, talk too much about the behind the scenes shit, but we were talking about it, and no joke, like, I mentioned the idea of Patreon for like a moment. He's like, no, I'm not a fucking charity case or something like that. It was pretty close. It wasn't exactly that, but it was pretty close. And I'm just kind of sitting there like, yeah, god damn it. And just like everyone else, you need to understand that Patreon is not a charity case. It's people want to support, people want to help creators. Let the fucking market decide. If the market doesn't want this, it's basic economics. They won't take it. You know, if it's a shady business practice, they will pull from it. If they want it, they will support it. So that's it, guys. I don't have much else. I have a previous episode of Bad Manners. I'm probably not going to release it. It'll probably sit in the private reserve file, and maybe I'll release it if I ever actually do open up like a Patreon or a website. I'll probably have like a whole back catalog of shit that I've recorded and like, oh, I couldn't really do this because this was like a time sensitive thing and I never actually finished it. But anyway, I love all you guys and I'll see you in the next one.